starting lineups. First for Florida State, they've won 29 games on the year. Adute Bulgak, their leading scorer and rebounder, but what a playmaker in Leticia Romero.
Leticia Romero, one of only 10 players in the entire country, plus 10 points, plus 5 assists, plus 5 rebounds at the point guard position.
Came to the team mid-season and has been absolutely brilliant, and there are all sorts of superlatives you can use about Jewell Loyd.
Well, let's just start with Jewell Loyd because she's the player of the year in the ACC, but she's also a candidate for National Player of the Year. If she's the best player on the floor, Muffet McGraw's team will win today.
And Muffet McGraw, the head coach in her 28th year now at Notre Dame, has taken her team to 4 straight Final Fours, won a national championship back in 2001, ably assisted by Beth Morgan, Ivy, Carol Owens, and we are underway, and right away it's Romero making an impact.
Florida State likes the transition game. This is expected to be an up-tempo game. Both teams like the push, and Notre Dame is one of the most efficient offensive teams in the entire nation.
They are first in the ACC in scoring. Florida State first in scoring defense as Reimer misses, and as Deb mentioned, they're going to want to push pace. They really thrived in the semi yesterday when they did that against Louisville.
One of the things that Florida State does exceptionally well is offensive rebound, which gives your shooters freedom to take lots of shots that you might question as a viewer at home, but they would be good shots according to Sue Semrau because they can rebound them.
They lead the ACC in rebounding margin. These two teams did meet during the regular season back on January 2nd. Notre Dame won it 74-68, but Florida State had a lead for much of that basketball game.
Man-to-man defense by both teams.
Lindsay Allen, the terrific sophomore point guard from Mitchellville, Maryland, gets it over to Mabry. Usually a three-point shooter, an unusual two-point shot for Michaela. 3/4 of her shots, 75% of them this year, have been from three.
As a matter of fact, she's made 63s on the season, only 14 twos, and that's the way you have to defend her. You have to chase her off the three-point line and make her put it on the floor.
Mabry hits her first free throw. She is 10th in the ACC, averaging just under 2 threes per game. Very solid shooter. Had 3 threes in the first half against Duke yesterday. Romero gets it over to Bulgak, and even though she's tall, she is a three-point threat. Made one yesterday, and there's a tie-up.
I wish she's so good at reading the defense because both teams right now are hedging on-ball screens, and Adute Bulgak is more of a pick and pop than she is a pick and roll, even in that 6'4" frame, and the best rebounder for Florida State.
Averaging just under 10 rebounds per game. Way off the mark, shot clock did not reset because it did not hit iron. But Jewell Loyd, so brilliant down the stretch yesterday. Reimer contact, but no foul. Shot clock ticking away. Turner doesn't recognize, but Jewell Loyd does. Ball bounced around. Hustle play by both teams, and Brittany Brown comes away with it and then throws it over and through Romero.
Some of the issues with this Florida State team, who is deep at every position 2 and 3 times, the amount of versatility and depth in there. Also like to play fast, but sometimes they play too much in a hurry. You want to play quickly, but you don't want to be in a rush.
Play quickly, but not fast, is that what some people say?
I think John Wooden used to say that.
Yeah, he had a modicum of success. Reimer wants it underneath, grabs it, puts it up and in. Over Slaughter.
The strength of Florida State is on the front line. If Notre Dame can match that with their front line, then they have a chance to cut down the nets. And look at Turner with a steal.
The freshman of the year in the ACC, and her game has really grown. That's one of the differences when you talk to people about the first time they played. Jewell Loyd mentioned that Turner has become a completely different player since the first time they played Florida State early January.
When we spoke to Jewell Loyd before the game, she said watching film of the last time these two teams played, she could not believe how much growth she had seen in Turner. The thing she does really well is runs ahead of the ball in transition.
First turnover for Notre Dame. Maegan Conwright with the ball in her hands, one of 5 Division I transfers on this Florida State team that have made a huge impact. Bulgak drives it against Turner and took steps. Third turnover already for the Seminoles.
Back-to-back defensive plays by Brianna Turner. You mentioned her being the ACC Rookie of the Year. She gets out on an uphill pass, and this time she moves her feet and plays great defense to contest.
In the first meeting between these two teams, Turner had 5 blocks, 14 points, 12 of them in the second half, when Notre Dame really kind of got it going. Mabry into Turner, the hoop and the foul. As they went over the top, yesterday they tried maybe too many bounce passes into Turner. That was effective.
How about the athleticism here? It's a great read by Mabry, feeds it into Turner. Her feet don't even come back down. Sort of an alley-oop. I guess you would put it in that stat category.
Terrific pass from Mabry. Turner can't convert. First foul on Conwright. Notre Dame out to a quick 8-2 lead. Florida State going right at it. That's Brittany Brown.
Pam, I don't know about you, but I'm loving the pace right here. This is up and down. We expect this to be a very good offensive game. A lot of pace, good quality execution as well.
Top 2 scoring teams in the ACC this year. Notre Dame #1, Florida State right behind them. Mabry's forte off the mark, but Turner so skilled.
Florida State has out-rebounded every opponent that they have played all season. They're the only one in Division I that's done that, including the Kentucky men.
Now they're being out-rebounded 6-3. Thomas puts it in. Jewell Thomas, a very talented freshman.
Sue Semrau can't even wait till the first media timeout to get her freshman in there, Jewell Thomas. She is a tempo changer. I think she could be a game changer for Florida State in this one.
Another pass up top for Turner. It's rejected by Slaughter, but then Notre Dame tries again as Lloyd gets it into Reimer. And the inside game working so far. Turner has 6, Reimer 4, so 10 of the 12 points coming from the bigs.
Running their horn set. Leticia Romero, very good running to the right side of their offense. You gotta try to force her to go left so she becomes a passer like that. Make someone else hit a shot.
She also became an assister thanks to Brown. That's the second 3 for Brittany Brown, the sophomore from Fort Walton Beach, Florida.
How many jump shots you see from the 3-point line, Pam? Brittany Brown's hit 2 of them.
Yeah, she sure has. That's only her 16th and 17th made threes of the season. Usually not a huge part of her arsenal. Jewell Loyd quickly to Allen.
She does a lot of contact on the ball handler right there. That would have been called in the regular season. That gets let go here in a title game.
First basket for Lindsey Allen, who played 36 minutes in yesterday's semi against Duke. End-to-end action. It's Maegan Conwright, the transfer from Kentucky. 3 years at Kentucky and came to Florida State to play out her final year of eligibility. Mabry, 0 for 2 now from distance. Jewell Loyd! Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Not too many people in this game can do that.
Avoid the contact, tip it to yourself, and then while you're still in the air, finish the play.
Florida State shooting over 63% from the floor as Romero connects on her second basket.
So dangerous going right, Pam. That's a terrific, crafty finish by Romero. You got to make her go left.
Make her a passer, as you said, and we've seen her do that already in this game. Lots of subs will come in once we finally get an immediate timeout, but meanwhile, here we go. Second turnover for Notre Dame. So many choices. Conwright had to go in and out, and they're going to get Mabry for a block-out foul. Woo, what a start. We're off to Notre Dame up by 2.
This has been a fantastic start. Look at Jewell Loyd, tips it to herself and finished the play on the offensive rebound. And Romero, crafty, the finish. Irish by 2.
Off off to a great start in this ACC Championship game. Both teams shooting at least 50%. Notre Dame with a 2-point lead over Florida State. Welcome to Greensboro, Pam Ward, along with Deb Antonelli. Now, Notre Dame is a team that has been in the national spotlight for a long time. 4 straight Final Fours, but Deb, not a lot of people are very familiar with Florida State.
One of the best stories in all of college basketball. Unranked at the beginning of the season, all the way to number 6 in the top 10 right now. This is a very balanced, athletic, 2 deep at every position team, and they have a bunch of transfers on their roster. As a matter of fact, 5 players that played at another D1 school, and then a Duke Bulgak, who is a junior college player of the year. Maegan Conwright from Kentucky, 3 years at UK, and 6 NCAA tournament games in her time at Kentucky.
Their season recap, school record 27 regular season wins, are already up to 29, which is their most ever overall. They've never won 30 games in a season.
They've never been in the ACC title game before. This is a very well put together team by Sue Semrau, who's done a fantastic job. Coach of the year in the ACC this year. That's the kind of job she did in this league with a couple of Hall of Famers.
Absolutely, and they've erased a lot of those nevers this year, and they're hoping for a very high seed. And as Deb mentioned, a great story, unranked at the beginning of the year, and look at them now. Shot clock at 5. They're to be 4th in the ACC, 4th, 5th. 5th, oh my goodness. And here they are, a solid number 2.
Even Sue Semrau will tell you she wasn't sure what she had at the beginning of the year, but this is a great coaching job of pulling all this team together and having the right kind of chemistry that you need to be successful. Everyone has accepted their roles, they connected with each other, and that's why they're successful.
Madison Cable into the game, quickly picks up her first personal foul, and then you particularly remember that Romero, this is only her 20th game. She came in and didn't really start playing until the end of December, early January, and she's playing a very crucial role.
She was the player from Kansas State, did not get the release from the school initially, then the NCAA along Kansas State allowed the release, and then mitigating circumstances allowed her to become eligible right away.
Usually you have to wait an entire season, entire year. Westbell, the freshman, came in with a rebound as Florida State on that last trip down got their first offensive board of the game. It's usually a very crucial part, and another turnover. That's 3 for the Irish.
Both teams' head coaches concerned about the live ball turnover because both teams have outstanding team speed. It's hard to recover if you turn it over in a live setting.
Bulgak from the outside, there she goes. The big girl from Edmonton, Alberta at 6'4", hits the 3.
Technically, she has the best shot from outside the arc of all the Florida State players, and at 6'4", that's a big part of her skill set. Sue Semrau allows her off the timeout to take that nice shot. National Junior College Player of the Year last year at Trinity Valley College, and good move by Jewell Loyd to get the shot off, but it rimmed out. Over Lloyd, that jump shot is off the mark by Morgan Jones, a transfer from Northwestern. And another timeout, Florida State with the lead over Notre Dame in the ACC title game. Florida State has just taken a 1-point lead over Notre Dame in the ACC Championship game. Semifinals yesterday, the top 4 seeds all got through. Let's take a look at our championship rewind. Mabry was huge. Yesterday, it sort of felt like an Elite 8 Final Four atmosphere in here. There were 4 teams in the top 15 from the ACC. Duke was ranked at 14th coming in, and Notre Dame took care of business. Ivy Slaughter for Florida State was terrific. And what a comeback by Louisville after an early, slow start. Jeff Walsh put together a terrific game plan in the second half.
Take a look now at today's Competitive Edge presented by Principal Financial Group, and it is simply strength against strength. Who wins, offense or defense today?
Well, you know I'm going to pick good offense.
Always.
I think great offense always beats good defense.
And remember that Florida State's offense isn't so shabby either, as they are second behind Notre Dame in scoring offense, and we will see who comes out on top. Again, these 2 teams played back in the regular season, and Jewell Loyd, as you saw at the end of that rewind, was so crucial towards the end of the game against Duke, as she was 6 for 8 in the last 14.5 minutes and part of 8 of their final 10 baskets, 6 baskets, 2 assists. Turnover number 4 now for Florida State. Notre Dame in a little bit of a scoring slump. They have not scored a field goal since just under the 14-minute mark.
Brittany Brown is a terrific on-ball defender. She's got the assignment on Lindsay Allen, try to disrupt Notre Dame's rhythm early in the shot clock.
And that was an authoritative block by Ivy Slaughter. The 4th block already for the Seminoles. Ball goes into the hands of Allen, who's been a starter since she came last year as a freshman. So poised, unflappable. Lloyd has had a couple of them rim out.
You have to quickly get in the window of Leticia Romero with the basketball right here, and she likes to play to her right hand. So if you can shade her up the floor, you got to make her go left. See, she's more willing to pick up the basketball going left. I watched her on Synergy this morning. All of her plays in that high pick and roll, Pam. That's the point you got to do, is make her go left and make her pick up the basketball.
Cable did just that. Cable, an able defender, and there's a turnover. Eric Bruton, Denise Brooks, Brian Burnett, our officials today.
It's a small thing that you have to understand about the scouting report, but it's an important thing, because if Romero can go right, she can get to the rim, she can make a shot, jump shot, or she can make a play for someone else. Her options are limited if you make her go left. And she's still very good, but you've got to take the percentages out of it if you can and make her go to the left.
Never go against her strengths. Notre Dame still trying to break out of this drought. They run Lloyd off of the screen. Conwright gave her a little bit. Give her an inch, she'll take a mile and bury it.
You don't have to worry about the humble, quiet confidence of Jewell Loyd. She is going to help determine the outcome of this game.
And she relishes that.
She does. She wants the ball. She wants to make the big play. She wants to do that for her teammates. She wants to cut down the nets.
Bogak already has 1 3. That one goes off the back rim. Good hustle by Bogak to get her own miss.
It's twice she's missed a 3 and got her own rebound.
Reimer with the block.
Oh, that's a big-time defensive play, because Shakayla Thomas, the McDonald's High School All-American, is a terrific player as a freshman off the bench for Sue Semrau.
Number 20 going to have quite a career ahead of her. Conwright with the defensive assignment for now on Lloyd. Allen runs into tall people, gets rid of it, and a foul as Reimer gets to shoot free throws.
There was a time during the season where I thought the 4 spot for Notre Dame was their weak link. Taya Reimer wasn't playing up to expectation, playing a little soft maybe. She's gotten a lot tougher as February's rolled around, and she's been playing some of her better basketball here late.
Yep, becoming much more aggressive. We remind you that it's Championship Week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. The West Coast Conference Tournament takes center stage. Both semifinals today. Pepperdine Gonzaga at 9 Eastern on ESPN, followed by Portland and BYU. West Coast Conference Men's Tournament semifinals tomorrow at 9 on ESPN and 11:30 Eastern on ESPN2. Championship Week in full glory right now. Last night, the Duke Carolina men played their final regular season game against each other, or period. Bogak again in the men's tournament, going to move in here. Things get geared up tomorrow.
Yeah, starts cranking up in here tomorrow. It's going to be awesome. Another full week in Greensboro.
Bogak with the steal.
Yeah, Bogak was not a big factor in yesterday's game, but she's been more of a factor and a presence today than she was yesterday against Louisville.
Just 2 for 9 with 5 points against Louisville in the semi yesterday. Conwright gets bumped on the baseline.
Florida State has got an aggressive attack mindset. When they turn the corner, they're looking to get to the rim. Pam, this is not a flare, fade kind of offensive attack team. They're not working off screens that way. They are turning the corner, looking to get to a piece of the paint.
That is when they are at their best, certainly. Bogak has scored the last 5 for Florida State, who turns it over again. Number 6 in the turnover department. Cable from 3.
Madison Cable has the best three-point percentage in the ACC this season. She's been terrific off the bench as well for Muffet McGraw's team.
Her three-point percentage just under 50%. Notre Dame now up by 4. Three-pointer off the mark by Brown, and here's Jewell Loyd in the open court. Doesn't have numbers, but she has Jewell Loyd skills.
Sweet. Come on, Pam.
Oh my goodness, that was 1 on 3. And she made it look like 1 on nothing. Certainly a National Player of the Year candidate. And she told us earlier today, that is one of her goals. Not her ultimate goal, but certainly that is something that she would like to accomplish once her career is over. Or before her career is over. Cable, again from 3, yeah, 2 in a row.
But you cannot make a mistake on Madison Cable in transition. And Florida State makes back-to-back mistakes in the transition game.
Timeout on the floor. Notre Dame now with the 9-point lead.
Up tempo, spot up and shoot it. You got to locate shooters. Madison Cable, we just told you, the best three-point shooter. Jewell Loyd gets to the rim in transition, and then another triple. Notre Dame, early lead.
Thank you, Zubin. And already 2 teams have punched their ticket. Princeton, still unbeaten. They do not have a conference tournament in the Ivy League. The regular season champs are in, and congrats to Tennessee State, who won the Ohio Valley Conference crown. We have a lot more to come today. In fact, 4 right on our air will get their tickets punched this afternoon and tonight.
Courtney Banger, the head coach at Princeton, did an outstanding job with expectations. That's a very good offensive team at Princeton. They can shoot it.
Yeah, they sure can. Notre Dame has forced now 8 turnovers, and they have scored 14 points so far off of those turnovers. They're heating up on an 8-0 run. 2 Cable threes and a Jewell Loyd drive accounting for that.
They're trying to get Jewell on a post-up, inverting her to the block.
Reimer takes it inside. Lloyd grabs it, is double teamed, and it doesn't matter.
First, I don't even know how she caught that ball, because under pressure like that, that was a pass. That had to be a perfect pass where only she could catch it.
Able to go up there and catch it against the taller defenders.
Zone.
That'll bust it if you can hit it, but Conwright left it well short. Ivy Slaughter, who scored 17 points yesterday against Louisville, has not scored yet for Florida State.
Ivy Slaughter is an offensive rebounder. She likes to get her buckets around the rim.
Down to Conwright. Leaves it off for Bogak, who gets a chance to shoot too. Bogak with a couple of threes today. Will make an appearance on the line. Taya Reimer's first foul.
Off the timeout, Muffet McGraw designs a play to get Jewell Loyd inverted to the block. That's a great catch. Uses the bounce just to gather herself and then finishes it off the glass. Strong finish.
And when Jewell Loyd was being so dominant towards the end of the game yesterday against Duke, Muffet McGraw said during that stretch, that is the best player in the country, because she could and did take over.
She can do everything. She's got the ability to stretch all the way to the three-point line. You can put her in a pick and roll situation. She can handle the ball in the pick and roll. She also understands how to read the screening action off of it. She sees the second level very well offensively.
Bogak has now scored the last 7 points for Florida State, and with Lindsey Allen on the bench, Lloyd also can go out there and run the point a little bit. Cable, that was not a good decision because Bogak swatted it away. Bogak leading this team in blocks, just under 2 per game. Has some experience with the Canadian B national team. And Jewell Loyd going to get a break.
She did play a lot of minutes yesterday. That was one of the things that Muffet McGraw told us she was a little concerned about, that Lindsey Allen and Jewell Loyd both played 38 and 36 minutes respectively.
Remember, this is the 3rd game in 3 days for both teams. Shot clock winding down. Turner just gets it off, ticked the rim, so no violation. Florida State trying to break out of a funk. They've gone since the 8:38 mark without scoring a field goal. They get a couple of free throws from Bogak, but that's it.
Switching on the ball screen, exit out on the backside.
Romero goes to her left, puts it up righty, and charges. That's 3 on Leticia Romero. Huge for Florida State.
It's an outstanding defensive play, and that's what I've been saying all half. You have to make her go left. She's less effective that way because she's so good. You have to take something away from her.
We will not see her until the second half. Sue Semrau does have a very deep bench, but Romero is a key component. Reimer is a lefty, took a step to her left and put it in.
That's what I mean, Pam. She wasn't confident doing that in January. As February's rolled on into the postseason, she has more confidence taking that shot for Coach McGraw.
And that's a scary thing for the opponents of Notre Dame, that Reimer's gotten her stuff together.
Another possession of zone by Notre Dame. Look at Bulgak spotting up at the three-point line.
Inside, Slaughter still has not scored, but an offensive rebound for Brown.
This is their best three-point shooter right here, Maegan Conwright.
A little short. Would you like to see Bulgak post up more?
I actually am fine with her in the pick and pop scenario because I think she's more difficult to guard that way.
Huge mismatch out there at 6'4".
But at 6'4", you know, spotting up on the three-point line, I don't believe she's playing the 3 spot in this lineup. I think she's playing the 5.
Yeah. Mabry missed, offensive rebound. Allen decided not to shoot the 3. Here's your best three-point shooter for Notre Dame, but it rims out. Cable has a couple of 3s today. Conwright drives, draws the foul on Westbeld. That is number 2 for the freshman for Kettering, Ohio. Notre Dame up 11. Jewell Loyd playing like Jewell Loyd.
The best guard in America. Put her in any spot on the floor offensively. She can make a play. She can create for herself, create for others. Notre Dame with an 11-point lead.
Nine turnovers turning into 18 Notre Dame points. Point well taken. It's championship week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods in the American Conference brackets in Uncasville, Connecticut tonight at 5:30 Eastern on ESPNU. It's UConn against East Carolina, followed by USF Tulane. Check it out tonight on ESPNU. UConn, to say the least, the prohibitive favorite in that league. And North Carolina lost in the quarterfinals in overtime to Louisville. Today they are spectators.
Spoke to Sylvia Hatchell. The bus rolled up to the building and the team piled out, and she said, we are here for practice today. This is the best experience and learning environment that I could provide for my team, and we are staying until someone cuts down the nets. It's not punishment, it's practice.
Yeah, and they look like they're being punished up there.
Well, I don't see anybody eating any popcorn.
Well, you can just tell that this is torture for them as that ball goes off the hands of Turner. Obviously, they would rather be playing, and we can see even from here Alicia Gray, and there's Stephanie Mavunga. There's Alicia Gray. What a fabulous player she is, and so competitive. This must be killing her to just be watching.
She is a competitor. You would be absolutely right about that.
North Carolina hoping to get one of the top 16 seeds in the NCAA so they can host at Chapel Hill. Florida State just 1 field goal in the last 8+ minutes.
Yeah, they're settling for a lot of jump shots right now. They're not getting anything going vertically inside the Notre Dame defense.
Lloyd getting a nice break here with a 10-point lead. Played 36 minutes yesterday in the semifinal. Win over Duke. Conwright in a mess of trouble. And there's still a lid on the basket for Florida State. Good hustle by both Cable and Shakayla Thomas, who you already referenced. Thomas, a brilliant offensive player out of Alabama.
A great article on the Florida State website about Shakayla Thomas, who is a McDonald's High School All-American, who accepted her role coming off the bench. She could have gone anywhere she wanted to play. She wanted to play at Florida State, and she has been very selfless about coming off the bench, and she's never done that before. She had to figure out how to do it, and she certainly has figured out how to play that role. She's very good at it.
She hurt Notre Dame during the regular season with 18 points, has just 2 so far today.
Sue Semrau can play her anywhere from the 2 to the 4 spot.
Bingley got Jewell Loyd up in the air twice and still couldn't get a shot up over her. Conwright drive, nothing doing. And again, the offensive rebounds not coming for Florida State. Allen, what a pass to Turner with the terrific move to spin it in.
The patience and poise of a veteran team right here playing in postseason. They had numbers initially, but Turner kept running to the rim.
8 points for Turner, who will be battling Asia Wilson. Kelsey Mitchell at Ohio State for National Freshman of the Year. A little no-look pass from Jones inside.
Well, look at Jewell Loyd rotate over and make that play.
Wow, Thomas thought she had a
chest
good
to
look.
chest right there, Pam. That was a good defensive play.
Conwright almost picked Allen's pocket, held ball. Possession arrow will keep it with Notre Dame. 21 seconds left on the shot clock.
Yesterday in the first half, Lindsey Allen was a little loose with the basketball. Turned it over a few more times than we're accustomed to seeing her.
Credited with 2 turnovers, but made some ill-conceived passes that led to other turnovers.
I thought the first half Notre Dame was trying to go for the home run play in that game against against Duke. But today they're more solid, they're making better reads, their cuts are outstanding. I always say Notre Dame plays the game like servants. They serve each other to make the game better. They pass, and they make the extra pass, they cut hard, they make good screens, they do all the things that don't really show up in the stat sheet, but it facilitates their offense.
Very pretty to watch, much like when the University of Connecticut has it going on as well. Allen has to get the shot off, does, and buries it right at the buzzer.
And I thought Jewell Loyd was the best bailout player inside the shot clock for Notre Dame. How about that play?
And they don't depend on Lindsey Allen to score that much, but she showed you she's got some moves of her own. Florida State's missed its last 8 shots from the floor. They've gone 7.5 minutes without a field goal, and it's going to be longer with another turnover.
Lindsey Allen is the third option offensively, but right here she recognizes time and score. She drives her defender into the paint and makes a play.
Training at Woodmore Elementary School in Mitchellville, Maryland, paying off.
You know something about that, don't you, Pam?
Yep, it's amazing that school's still standing after all these years. But she's a great player and just so even-tempered on the floor. 7 turnovers for Notre Dame, but Florida State needs a basket desperately, and Bulgak, with her third 3 of the half, gives them just that. They had gone 8 minutes without a field goal. We'll take a timeout and come right back to Greensboro. We are in Greensboro for the ACC Championship game. Pam Ward along with Deb Antonelli, and balanced scoring. 8 points apiece for Lloyd, Reimer, and Turner, but they are taking advantage of too many Florida State turnovers. After the timeout, we'll see what Muffet McGraw and her staff drew up. Reimer hoping to get the foul, did not get it. It is off of Florida State. 14 seconds left on the shot clock. Notre Dame trying to win the ACC Tournament Championship for the 2nd straight year in their 2nd season overall in this league. Lloyd just grabbed it away. Cable gets the loose ball and puts it home.
Madison Cable is a terrific hustle player. This makes extra plays.
2 seconds to go. Conwright, no. Notre Dame takes a 13-point lead in the half. Adut Bulgak scored 10 of the last 11 for Florida State, but Jewell Loyd and the rest of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish up 13 after 20 minutes of play in the ACC title game. Time for the Heroes Charge halftime report, and we go to Zubin right now. This is the ACC on ESPN. Halftime of the Women's Championship game in Greensboro, North Carolina, and defending ACC champion and top seed Notre Dame with a 13-point advantage over 2nd seed Florida State. The Seminoles playing in their first ever ACC Championship game. And we welcome you to Greensboro. Pam Ward along with Deb Antonelli. And boy, Notre Dame 4 scorers with 8 points apiece. So balanced, but you also like the way they played the game.
They've been aggressive, they've been on the attack, and they're out-rebounding a team that hasn't been out-rebounded all season. They're playing downhill in every aspect of their game in terms of their transition and in their quarter court offensively. So I think they've been the team that's been the most aggressive. If Florida State wants to win this, they're going to have to take it.
And Notre Dame certainly has looked good at great stretches. It helps that you have Jewell Loyd.
Well, she matters.
Yep.
She matters in every aspect of the game for Notre Dame on both ends of the floor. They can put her anywhere offensively from the three-point line all the way into the block. And then Madison Cable, a senior with a sense of urgency, and you tend to see this out of players like Cable that have the ability to make winning plays for your team in a game like this where every possession matters. Just a great hustle player who knows how to finish and understands how to score inside the system.
And Leticia Romero played only 10 minutes, had 3 fouls, so crucial for them. Balanced scoring for Notre Dame, as we said as well, and they've taken advantage of the Florida State turnovers.
Well, Florida State is being out-rebounded, didn't score a point on the offensive glass, and that is their game. They like to get it up on the board so that they can rebound it.
Brianna Turner, third in the league in blocks at 2.6 per game. Got that one very easily. And then the slip, and Mabry found her.
What a way to start for Notre Dame. And Brianna Turner is so elusive in her ability to run the floor. I'm not sure there's that many post players around the country that run rim to rim like she does.
Just scary. And again, just a freshman at 6'3", the ACC Freshman of the Year, and very much in the hunt for National Freshman of the Year. And Florida State started the game 6 of 9 from the floor and then missed 17 of their next 20 shots. Make it 18 of 21.
And Notre Dame starts out in zone. We saw a few possessions of zone in the first half. Typically, these are man-to-man defensive teams.
Maybe with 2 really good passes to start off the second half, and Sue Semrau takes a timeout.
That's like a punch in the mouth right there. When you come out of the locker room and you go right to the block, back to back, and score points inside.
$17-point lead for Notre Dame. Let's go inside the play, Deb.
Okay, watch this right here. Mabry's going to have the ball. Jewell Loyd is going to fake the handoff, and then Turner's going to roll into a ball screen. Okay, here comes the screen, fake the handoff, freeze it right here. Okay, because Lloyd's in the corner, now this space it gets opened up because you have to guard Lloyd with a player and a half, and that's not good defense by Florida State. But you have to pay attention to Lloyd. Turner has all that space to roll in that gap.
And that is the attention that Jewell Loyd certainly will get pretty much every time. But Michaela Mabry with a couple of nice assists to start off this second half. Florida State has hit just one of its last 12 shots, spanning about the last 10 minutes going back into the first half. Finally, they get one to fall. That's Conwright from the outside.
Florida State has not played one aspect of their game yet. The way they got to the top 10. Offensive rebounding, playing in transition, D'ing up on this end of the floor, utilizing their depth. They haven't really played anywhere near what they've been capable of doing and what they've done all year.
This is their first championship game as the shot clock goes down to 5. Reimer, cool as can be. And you have to wonder, does poise and experience play into that? And Sue Semrau, the head coach for Florida State, told us before the game she didn't think it would.
Well, she wasn't worried about her team being in this environment because we asked her about it. Usually when you have teams that come in their first chance playing with so much on the line, experience matters. Notre Dame is clearly comfortable in this environment, and Florida State has not looked comfortable at all.
They do have a lot of new components this year. There's some transfers coming in. Lloyd with an offensive rebound. And now, the outside shot by Allen is missed. 2 offensive rebounds on this trip for the Irish.
Florida State has not been out-rebounded all season. Only team in Division I on the men's and the women's side. They're getting killed on the glass right now.
I believe they're -10 right now, Deb. They are -10. Lloyd crashes to the floor.
And Brittany Brown picks her right back up. Lloyd's trying to take a seat right there in the chair, and Brown's not pulled the chair out.
Brittany picked her right back up. That is the first foul on Brittany Brown. Jewell Loyd.
Off a curl, down screen. Right now, Notre Dame is getting whatever they want out of their offense. See, when you show that offense and defensive graphic, Pam, I told you, offense. It's all offense.
So far, so good, right? 18-point advantage. 3 players in double figures for the Irish.
And it allows a team in Notre Dame that's had to grind out their last 2 wins in this tournament to play some zone. You know, you can protect your lead in the zone. You don't have to be up the line against Florida State. You have to know where the three-point shooters are. You just have to make sure you continue to rebound.
And a hold underneath as the bounce pass came in from Reimer to Turner.
Sue Semrau's defense is all spread out right now. Notre Dame is just picking it apart, and they're making shots. This is a team that is second to Connecticut in field goal percentage on the season.
In the entire nation. And they shot well under that yesterday in their game against Duke. But they are over 50% where they usually are right now. Brown picks up her second foul and heads to the bench.
And I think Brown is one of their best on-ball defenders and one of their better transition players, which is those are the kinds of things that they're going to need right here to get back down 18.
Notre Dame gives it up. Conwright with the ball in her hand, zips it down to Thomas, and a rare, easy bucket for the Seminoles. Thomas now with 4 points. She had 29 combined in the first 2 tournament games, including 12 yesterday against Louisville, and just 4 so far today. Reimer gets inside again.
Another assist, Mabry. I thought Mabry was only out there to shoot threes.
She is not one of those point assist people. She's 2.5 on the season, and she's got 4 today. Outside shot buried by Romero. 8-point Romero, terrific three-point shooter. Doesn't take a lot of them, but when she does, buries about 44% of them. Left all alone, Mabry, who took steps and doesn't quite believe it.
There is a timeout on the floor.
15-point lead for the Irish as we take a timeout in Greensboro. The NCAA Women's College Basketball Championship begins and ends on ESPN, and our experts will reveal the 64 teams playing for the national title. The NCAA Women's Selection Special presented by Capital One a week from tomorrow, 7 Eastern, Monday night on ESPN. Notre Dame, a no-doubter as a #1.
Yeah, no question in my mind. They've already earned it. They are 1.
Florida State, according to Charlie Cream and a lot of other people who look at this, say there are 2. Do you think if they lose badly today, they might lose their 2?
No, I do not think they're going to lose their 2. I think they've already earned it. They finished 2nd place in the ACC. You should be a 2 seed.
They've only lost 3 games all year. Thomas misses. They have lost to Washington early in Mexico, at Notre Dame, at North Carolina. Those are the 3 losses. And they could be sitting on #4 right now.
I do agree with Kara and Rebecca that South Carolina or Tennessee, whoever wins today is going to be the 1 seed out of the SEC. The other will be the 2 seed. And then I think Maryland takes care of business. They're the other 1. They've been I've had Maryland as a 1 for about 3 weeks.
Maryland playing Ohio State. Ohio State really coming on as of late. For the Big Ten Championship, Thomas gets another bucket.
We'll see how tired Kelsey Mitchell is after her 29 points in overtime.
They've won, what, 8 of 10 games, the Buckeyes now, as they've come alive. They upset Iowa in overtime yesterday. Jewell Loyd gets another inside basket.
Kelsey Mitchell, Pam, the freshman for Ohio State, is the only player that made me dig up Jackie Stiles-like numbers to see where she stands. Jackie Stiles, the NCAA all-time leading scorer. Had to go dust off a few records to check it out.
When you're talking Jackie Stiles, you're talking offensive performance, to say the least. But that should be entertaining coming up later on ESPN. The Big Ten Championship between Maryland, who has not lost in the Big Ten this year in their first year, taking on Iowa. But after us, we have the SEC, and then tonight the Pac-12 Championship. Ohio State taking on Maryland. Ohio State beating Iowa yesterday, to clarify. There you go. And then Cal Stanford playing for the 3rd time with the title on the line. They split their 2 regular season matchups, each winning on the other's home court. And right now, Florida State clawing to get back into this game, but facing a big mountain to climb down, 15, and another turnover. Florida State is a team, we mentioned this at the top, they are 2nd in the league in scoring to Notre Dame, averaging 76.3 points. They have 35 right now. Their season low was 58, and at this pace, they're going to have to hustle to catch up to that.
They have been uncomfortable all game, and you have to give some of that credit to Notre Dame's defense. But they have 2 early post-up opportunities in that possession, and they decided not to throw it in there. They wait late in the shot clock. They're putting a lot of pressure on their offense right now.
Turner's able to gather. Bounce pass over to Reimer. So everybody on this team can pass the basketball. Lead the ACC in assists, 16 points now.
Remember yesterday in the Louisville game, there were, into the first 10 minutes of the second half, Florida State only had 3 baskets. 2 of them were offensive rebounds, putbacks. They're just not getting any of that today.
And the shot clock winds down, and bailing out, Conwright made the nice cut into the lane for her 8th point.
She's got her hands full because she's primarily been a defender on Lloyd. There's a nice backdoor. And I was going to say, you get fatigued chasing Lloyd around and you're responsible for scoring all that offense. You can see right there, that was an easy 2 for Jewell.
Her 13th and 14th points. Romero inside, off-balance shot by Thomas, and then a foul after the fact.
As soon as you dribble towards Lloyd, it's an indicator to look to go backdoor, and Conwright was not in position, and the weak side wasn't paying attention or at the rim. She was able to get an easy 2.
Thomas is a terrific scorer and puts in another one after a slow start. Kayla Thomas is heating up. She has 6 of her 8 points in the second half. Cable cuts to the basket. And now Lloyd, another one.
Oh boy, is Maegan Conwright ball watching back to back, and nobody at the weak side help line. See, they're all spaced out, Pam. Notre Dame is getting whatever they want. Great job by Muffin McGraw and her team in the 3rd game in 3 days.
42 of their 56 points today are in the paint. And I think we're looking at 44. Nope, the pass was deflected away. And it goes out of bounds off of Notre Dame. Again, these 2 teams played earlier this season, a much closer game up at South Bend. Florida State led for a lot of the first half, and Notre Dame came from behind to win 74-68.
Pam, on a 2-on-1, what's Jewell Loyd doing giving the ball to Michaela Mabry in that situation anyway?
She's being unselfish to the point of don't do that.
She scored 1 on 3 in the first half.
Rims out for Thomas. Reimer with the rebound. And now Lloyd out on the break. Lindsay Allen not in the game, so Lloyd's your primary ball handler. A little bit too much zip on it for Reimer. Tried to be saved in by Cable. 11th turnover for the Irish. Jones leaves it for Romero. Back to Jones. Spots up for 3. And it just won't go in.
Now Florida State starting to really look fatigued, and this is the deepest team in the ACC all season.
Westbeld finishes on the break that time. Yeah, I was just about to say the same thing. You can really see Florida State, both teams playing their 3rd game in as many days, and Florida State looking a bit tired out there.
They just look like their spirit's broken because they haven't been able to play their game, and you got to give Notre Dame credit for that.
Romero banked in it too.
This has been a Florida State team all season, Pam, that has relied on offensive rebounding and utilizing their depth to wear teams down.
Westbeld called for the foul for Notre Dame, but the Irish in control. Jewell Loyd having another good game.
Well, Jewell Loyd is so good at reading the defense. She's good with the ball in her hands, but she can play without the ball. Here's a backdoor look. Nice feed. How about another one? Back-to-back cuts to the bucket. Jewell Loyd playing without the ball.
Thanks a whole lot. Not a tight game here. It's a 17-point advantage for Notre Dame in the ACC Championship game. Sue Semrau's team came in riding a nice winning streak, but a different story today.
Well, look at their season numbers. Points in the paint, the way they offensive rebound, second chance points. That's the one that's the most glaring, is that they have not been able to score any points on offensive rebounds, and they haven't had very many offensive rebounds. As a matter of fact, they only have 6. Notre Dame has 11. So Notre Dame is beating Florida State at all the aspects of the game that Florida State had excelled in all season.
Offensive rebounding was one of the keys that Muffet McGraw thought would be vital in this game, and it certainly has been. Allen decides to pull up. Bulgak comes down with the rebound. How about this paint points, Deb? Notre Dame 44, Florida State 10, plus 34.
Yeah, incredible. It's that offensive rebounding diminished for Florida State.
Here's some paint points as Conwright gets inside for her 10th point. Seven straight wins for Florida State since they lost at North Carolina February 12th. Westbeld sneaks inside.
Good triangle concept, good get numbers advantage. Doing a nice job of feeding the block. They're scoring a lot of points easily, get over their left shoulder.
Shooting over 70% in this half. Conwright short. Lindsey Allen showing no signs of playing 38 minutes yesterday.
And that 70% you're talking about, Notre Dame hasn't even made a three in the second half. They haven't needed to. They've been very aggressive at attacking. Remember we started talking about how they were playing downhill. They're the aggressive team. They're looking to score north and south. They've done that very well in the second half.
Bulgak fouls Westbeld, who goes to the free throw line. 74% free throw shooter, a high school All-American at Fairmont High School, Kettering, Ohio. Getting some quality minutes. She played 27 minutes yesterday against Duke and had 9 boards. Getting a lot of minutes today as well. Bulgak has not scored in this half after getting 10 of the last 11 in the first half for Florida State. It's been a confounding experience, I would say, for the Seminoles. Came in confident, as well they should be. Played Notre Dame really tough in South Bend earlier this year, but it's been a different story today. Turner coming back in for Westbell. 19-point advantage. First seed over the second seed in the ACC.
Hannah Huffman has her hands full trying to defend Kayla Thomas on the block. Good take to the rim by Bingley. That's because Thomas was posting up so hard, Hannah Huffman couldn't get off the contact to help on that drive.
Huffman and Cable, 2 reserves in there with Turner, Lloyd, and Allen. Allen has 10 seconds now on the shot clock. Drives it out, kicks it to Cable, and there's their first 3 in a while.
You know, I love to talk about point guards that know the 3 W's. Who to get the ball to, when and where. You've got Cable spotted up in the corner, stretched all the way wide. It's a great job by Allen with the shot clock running down. Smart.
And Lindsey Allen was not on either the first or second teams in the All-ACC teams that were released. 10 players on the first team, 5 on the second team. And Coach McGraw said that Lindsey wasn't that concerned about it, but she was trying to get Lindsey kind of fired up about it. They snubbed you.
Lindsey doesn't get excited about anything.
No.
It's a perfect demeanor for a point guard. Solid. You can't read her.
4 Notre Dame players in double figures today.
I think most coaches would like their point guards not to get too high or too low.
Nice and even. Her expression never seems to change. But we see her over on the bench now yelling out, encouraging her teammates. Jewell Loyd gets inside and does it again.
How is that not a foul? I mean, she had a duck underneath the contact. Well, there was contact. She ducked and she still got contact.
And she still made the shot.
That's the matchup for Florida State to go to right now. Thomas.
Being guarded by Huffman. Mabry gets it over to Huffman. So Lloyd and Turner, the player and freshman of the year respectively in the ACC, out there with 3 bench players right now with a chunky lead at 22.
If Florida State wants to make any sort of run here, they have got to get more aggressive defensively. You know what, they're just settling and letting Notre Dame run whatever they want to run. And I think they've been doing that all second half, though.
Conwright found a lane and took it. Conwright leading the way with 12 points for Florida State, but they are down 20 Jewell Loyd and company having their way.
This has been an easy second half offensively for the Irish. They've been fantastic. Dial it up, getting anything they want.
This is Notre Dame's second year in the ACC. Last year, they ran through the regular season unbeaten and won the tournament, beating Duke in the final. This year, just one blemish. That was to Miami. They avenged that loss in the quarterfinals of the tournament this year. And oh my goodness, the last 4 seasons, they have a grand total of 2 regular season losses, 3 conference championships, and they're on their way to making it 4 for 4. But the national championship has certainly eluded Notre Dame, despite all of this excellence. And the North Carolina kids, Alicia Gray still up there, Mavunga, they are here with their coach. And believe it or not, this is only the 2nd time since 1994 that either Duke or North Carolina has not appeared in the championship game. Maryland, Georgia Tech 3 years ago, and Florida State, Notre Dame right now.
No blue.
No blue of any kind, except for a little the dark blue accent on the Irish's uniforms. That's it.
The last time it happened was 2012. It was Maryland and Georgia Tech in the finals.
And Maryland only won that game, I believe, by 3 points. It was a close game. Alyssa Thomas company. Now they're trying to win the Big Ten tournament title today after going unbeaten during regular season play when they play Ohio State later today on ESPN. Romero gets fouled. Romero is from Spain on the Iberian Peninsula, where she is a fan of Tisha Penicheiro, also from the Iberian Peninsula, but from Portugal. And you know, they kind of almost look alike. Romero's slighter and shorter, right, and Penicheiro certainly had a lot more flash in her game, but this kid can play.
Yeah, she's excellent. One of only 10 players in the country that average 10 points, plus 5 rebounds, plus 5 assists. It's very telling about what kind of game she has and a total game that she has. She had a triple-double earlier this year. But yeah, Tisha Penicheiro is taller, a little bit flashier. Romero is a better shooter. But Penicheiro won the weight trophy, Pam.
Yeah, she was pretty good at Old Dominion. Romero, 2nd team All-ACC, and was saddled with 3 fouls in the first half, only played 10 minutes for Florida State. It was a 13-point halftime lead for Notre Dame, and they have extended that with scorching shooting from the floor in the second half. Shot clock winding down, but Jewell Loyd just gets it up, ticks the front of the rim. And here's Romero in the open court. Underneath, Conwright to Thomas, who got stuffed by Reimer. Taya Reimer with her 4th block. And you're right, Debbie, boy, she really has looked, especially like in the last month, like a different player.
Yes, I mentioned earlier that I thought that she was sort of the weak link as the 4 player. Not tough enough, not good on the glass. And Muffin McGraw's done a terrific job building confidence in her and her teammates. Jewell Loyd said, we need her. You know, I played with, Jewell Loyd told us that she played with her in AAU, so she knew she was capable of being more aggressive. And certainly when you're a guard and you play the way Jewell Loyd needs, you need another counter on the inside besides Turner.
Just picked up her 2nd foul. Reimer missed a couple of games during the regular season for personal reasons. There were all sorts of rumors that she was thinking about leaving Notre Dame, but obviously did not, and she has been a different player since coming back. Ivy Slaughter, ladies and gentlemen, 1st basket of the game. She scored 17 yesterday. Averages 11.5 points per game. 3rd leading scorer. We're inside 5 minutes. Lindsey Allen back in there to run the point. Gets it to Lloyd. He's now missed 2 straight shots.
Well, that possession was much better defensively for Florida State, but I'm afraid it might be too little, too late. That's the kind of defensive energy that I think Sue Semrau has commanded all season from her team.
Slaughter, or excuse me, Conwright going in off glass for her 14th point. Florida State on a nice run. They've scored the last 8 of this game, but are still down by 14. Lloyd posting up Conwright. Florida State's had a couple of players hit the deck on this trip down the floor. Lindsey Allen pulls up, hits it, and I think they're going to take it away. Foul was after the shot, so count the shot by Allen. Foul was on Jewell Loyd. How about Jewell Loyd just committing her first foul?
Well, you know what? Jewell Loyd has played a terrific game on both ends of the floor. I've talked about her playing with the ball in her hand. She's the best guard in America. She's shown us in the second half off the ball with her backdoor cuts and her ability to read the timing on a backdoor play.
It's a brilliant player, has confidence, as well she should, and is about to lead Notre Dame to its second straight ACC Tournament Championship. We take a timeout in Greensboro. Thanks very much. Chattanooga with a couple of big wins during the regular season against Tennessee and Stanford. And look at the American Championship semifinals coming your way. Championship week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. East Carolina and UConn, 5:30 Eastern on ESPNU, followed by South Florida and Tulane. Championship coming up tomorrow night, 7 Eastern on ESPN, which leads us to this. The two leading candidates for National Player of the Year, Jewell Loyd here, Breanna Stewart for UConn.
It's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out. And I personally have several votes for National Player of the Year on multiple awards. And when I decide what I'm going to do, I'm voting straight line.
You're not going to do...
No, I'm not mixing it up.
Jewell on one. I personally have 0 votes, and I would go for Jewell Loyd, but I have no power. I just think she does more with against a better conference.
Right.
And Breanna Stewart's brilliant, but
Breanna Stewart's the best, hardest matchup in the country.
Yeah.
Has she had the same kind of year that she had last year that allowed her to get Player of the Year? And Jewell Loyd dominates the ball.
Yep.
She's got the ball in her hands a little bit more. It's different for guards than it is for post players.
Loyd doesn't have Achanwa or Kayla McBride, and Stephanie Dolson not being there for UConn has hurt Stewart's production a little bit, but I would still go for Loyd, but I don't have a vote, so it doesn't matter. You have several votes. You matter.
No, that doesn't mean I matter.
Reimer just picked up her third. 16 foul, but it was a shooting foul, so Brittany Brown heads to the line. 6 points today, none in the second half. Until that. We have NBA basketball coming your way. Doubleheader on Wednesday presented by State Farm as the Clippers go to Oklahoma City and the Rockets take on Portland. NBA Countdown kicks it off at 7:30 Eastern Time Wednesday on ESPN.
I've got a lot more analytics to dive into before I determine who's going to be my Player of the Year.
I'm sure you do. Sue Semrau calls a timeout with 3:25 left. A 15-point advantage for Notre Dame. They have led by as many as 22 points in this game. So Jewell Loyd in this tournament, 3 games, 55 points, 23 rebounds. But let's take a look at what she has done just today against Florida State.
Special, unique, best guard in the country. Put her any place on the floor, she can be productive. Nice backdoor reads without the ball. Of course, when you talk about her dominating the basketball, she can make every play, every shot. She's creative in her shot-making ability. Got great length in her size. She shoots it well for a guard. And when the game is on the line, like we saw yesterday, plays like these are part of the analytics that I'm going to look at. Pam, when you are responsible for 8 of the last 10 baskets in the game against Duke yesterday, that means there's an intangible there about a winner, about wanting the ball, about understanding your role and what your responsibility is to make enough winning plays for your team.
Yeah, we talked to Jewell before the game, and she talked about that, and that's just part of who she is. She wants the ball, and she's very calm about it. She takes it, and more often than not, good things happen. And what a luxury to not just have somebody who can manufacture points, but can do it in crunch time.
Competitors don't always know what the final score is. They know what the margin of victory or loss is. That's the thing about Jewell that I think separates her. She doesn't know the final score. We won by 15, we lost by 2.
And what she's most concerned about is we won.
Right, we won.
She wasn't even sure by how many. She just knew they won, and that's all that mattered. This is an 11-2 Florida State run. Shot clock winding down. Allen to Reimer, takes a dribble, back rims it. Florida State making this run under 3 minutes left to go. Is there enough time for a miracle comeback? That's pretty basketball, but Bulgak missed it. A foul on the follow as Brittany Brown got in there for one of the rare offensive rebounds for Florida State. Allen has picked up a couple of quick fouls for Notre Dame.
This is what Florida State wants. Stop the clock, get to the line.
Both teams in the bonus. Or actually just Florida State in the bonus. Just 4 team fouls against Florida State. Brown misses the first of 2, 60% free throw shooter on the season. Free throw shooting is not a strength of Florida State. Only Louisville had a lower percentage from the line in the ACC this year, and she just left 2 points on the line.
Well, she's a jump shooter, and she's not jumping from the free throw line.
Maybe she should try that.
Yep, I think she should.
Takes a jump shot on her 3.
Brittany Brown picked up those early fouls. Now she's back on Jewell Loyd.
Romero gets her 4th foul as she thumped into Cable out there on the perimeter. She's done a good job. She had 3 fouls in the first 10 minutes of the first half, and then has kept herself out of committing a foul until just now in the second. Using as much of the clock as they can.
They like to go into an on ball when they get under 10 on the shot clock.
Trying to go inside to Reimer. Conwright working against Turner, who's a great shot blocker, so she decided not to go in.
Well, they were also looking for the 3, and she knew that Romero was trailing the play. Good hustle by Slaughter.
Yeah, they're not giving up. Allen with another foul. Romero will be at the free throw line for Florida State. So Florida State finishing strong in this game.
And the game that we saw the other night that went into overtime in the quarterfinals between North Carolina and Louisville may be one of the best games we've ever seen in this tournament. It's certainly up in there in the top 5, I'd say.
Jamie Cherry tied it with a 3 at the buzzer to go into overtime, and then Louisville survived to win that game. Louisville lost to Florida State yesterday in the semis. Duke went down to the Irish.
And what's impressive about those teams that have won, this is the longest running postseason tournament, longer than the NCAA.
That's a good fact. That's a good fun fact from you.
1978 was the first year of the ACC.
Yeah, that was the old AIAW days, back when Maryland and North Carolina State were the dominant teams in this tournament. Jewell Loyd misfires. 1 minute left to go in the ACC Championship game. Cable got right in the way of the passing lane and grabbed it. No timeouts left for Florida State. Notre Dame, with 2 straight ACC regular season championships, about to add their 2nd straight ACC Tournament Championship and a definite #1 seed in the NCAA tournament. The only question is, where do they go? Albany, it's got to be Connecticut. Greensboro is the other. Oklahoma City and Spokane.
Greensboro might get the SEC.
And that will be decided after us here on ESPN between Tennessee and South Carolina.
None of this 40 minutes should diminish what Florida State has accomplished this year. They've had a fantastic year, a record-setting year. And this will be a tough out in the NCAA tournament. They didn't play well here, but you know, it's not just the seeding, it's about matchups.
And a timeout, or actually a travel call. And now Muffet McGraw empties her bench. And a standing ovation from the Irish fans here. Jewell Loyd, Lindsay Allen, Taya Reimer, the 3 starters that were in there, all head to the bench. And the Irish, they're going to actually disperse after this game because they have spring break coming up, and only a couple of players are going to get on the charter. The others are going to spread out, go see family and friends. Perfect time to have spring break. They'll have a few days off, win a championship, spring break, and then you get down to the business of the NCAA tournament.
4 or 5 days off for the Irish. Then they'll reconvene and find out where they're going in the NCAA tournament. They'll secure the ACC's automatic bid.
Whitney Holloway, one of the captains on this team, missed that free throw for the Irish. Michael Johnson, a freshman from Huntington, West Virginia, getting some playing time in the ACC tournament. But Notre Dame does it again, another double championship in the ACC. The Irish take down Florida State 71-58 and are once again the ACC champions. The newcomers did it last year and they do it again this year. But Florida State certainly a force to be reckoned with, and what could be 8 teams from the ACC going to the NCAA tournament.
Only 1 loss in 2 years by the Irish in the ACC. They have been the dominant program the last 2 years. And they are going to secure a #1 seed, I believe, Pam, as the ACC champion in the regular season and in the ACC tournament. A coveted crown to win.
Just 2 losses for Notre Dame, to Connecticut on December 8th, and then they lost to Miami January 8th. And since then, they have rolled. 4 players in double figures for the Irish, led by Jewell Loyd's 18 points. She will join us live coming up shortly. Maegan Conwright's 14 led Florida State as they fall to 29-4 on the season. Coming up next, it's the NCAA update, followed by the SEC Championship as Tennessee and South Carolina go at it for the 2nd time this year. Zubin Mehenti, Carol Lawson, Rebecca Lobo in the studio. For Deb Antonelli, I'm Pam Ward saying so long for now. Jewell Loyd will be with us in a minute.